Anybody heard of Headspace? Right? It's an app that you can download, and it's kind of guided meditation, right? Which is a really helpful tool. I want to talk about mindfulness, but I want to come at it from kind of a stress perspective. For some reason, I was born to fight. That was kind of the way I was made. If I see an injustice, I will fight. I mean, that's just kind of me, and I've been fighting all my life. So that's kind of part of what I deal with, and that's part of my work. That's what I do. I go in and I fight every day. How many of you can kind of relate to this picture as an idea of what modern life is like, right? I'm blessed with being able to travel a bit, and I love going through airports. Do you go through airports and watch what people do? I mean, everybody is just doing it's crazy. You know, and if you look up, you're like the only person looking up. And people have no kind of awareness around them. They're all in this little tube, and then they'll stop, and everybody climbs up. You know, we're kind of hooked up but running at the same time. You know, and the developers all know how to keep us ding 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 oh ding ding. You know, this is one of the ideas that I think about when you talk about mindfulness. How many of you have practiced meditation or kind of tried to work on? Is it that bad? I've only been talking for 2 minutes. Come on. How many of you have done any kind of mindfulness practice, right? Okay. And here's the idea, right? It's to be here now, right? To be present, to be fully present. I mean, I look back on Sarah and I talk about our kids and where did those 2 decades go? You know, where were we, right? But it's this idea that I'm here now. I'm not stuck in my past, worrying about, thinking about, regurgitating, or I'm not anxious about my future, right? And I think the world kind of breaks up into 2 different chunks of people. Some of us are always thinking about what's coming up, and some of us are always thinking about what's past, right? Kind of can't get off. Here's a picture that it's worth 10,000 words, right? This is when the Pope came to New York. We were out there a couple weeks before, and they were setting this all up. And this is a picture to take home, right? Look at her, right? She is totally there. And then you look at the whole crowd. There's not another damn person there. Everybody else is multitasking and hooked up in some other context, right? I love her. You know, come back to it, right? So how do you get there? And I'm no expert. I'm kind of a struggler. Some days I do okay, some days I suck, right? I did a ton of research doing this job, been doing it almost 13 years. I was a prosecutor before. I've been dealing with ugly stories and broken, hurt people all my life, right? And hurt people. And when you deal with hurt people all day long, you carry that. There's just no way those stories don't kind of come into you. And then we all have our own trauma in life, right? How many of you have no trauma, no bad experiences in your life? Sign me up, right? So I started thinking about this a lot when I started the job and started the work and trying to figure out how to make it go. And I studied cortisol. Have you heard? Stress produces cortisol in your body. And one of the risks of stress is that you're kind of always on and you're not functioning in what the experts call your parasympathetic nervous system. You're not backing off and finding places of peace. You're aroused, you're hyper-vigilant, you're always kind of on, right? And it produces cortisol. And I could feel in my body, in my life, in the way I parented, that I was hot with cortisol. I was just, pushing it. Come from a long line of people who have a lot of anger, and that's what they run on, right? So what's the path? What I started with is this. I started biking 7 or 8 years ago, every dang day in Duluth, Minnesota. And I started when it was like $3 a gallon for gas, right? And I thought, well, I can ride for a couple of weeks and I'll save a couple of bucks. And I started riding. You're back. Thank you. See, it's going to be worth it. Let me back up and show you what you missed. So I work at the courthouse. I live out on 27th West. And so to get home, you got to climb that hill, right? The first night I'm going up the hill, I climbed straight up 3rd, all the way up to Anger and across. And literally, I'm dying. But about halfway up the hill, there are 3 people standing out in their front yard, and 2 of them are women. And I'm thinking, I can't push my bike by these people. That's it. That's raw truth. I'm like, I can't show that much weakness to 3 strangers that I don't even know. And so I climbed up to the top. I did not throw up, though it was close. In the first 2 weeks, every night I was just ready to just lose it. And I got home and, my legs are shaking. I'm sick. I'm coughing. It's like, this is awful. But about 3 weeks in, I realized, I'm a better dad on the days that I ride my bike, honestly. Because it was a tool that helped me get rid of that and burn some of that off, right? That's the coldest day I've ridden. I should make the idiot bigger. Sarah makes me call on days when it's below 10 below just to see if I died on the way in or not. I have good insurance, so I don't know why she cares. So I started doing that, and I just thought, I can do this all dang winter. I'm a winter guy, and I just layer up and I ride. And I applied for a job a while ago out east, and they said, how much do you need to make? I said, I have no idea, but you got to pay me enough so I can bike to work. I got to be able to buy a house within about an 8-mile radius of wherever the heck you are, or I'm not going to work for you. No way. Food. What do you eat? And this, to me, these are all mindful practices. Keeping track of what I eat and how much I eat, not crazy about it, but kind of being mindful about what I shove into my stupid mouth, right? Jim Gaffigan says, it's a great line. He says, we eat so we don't have to feel our feelings. And Friday afternoon after I've done big court all week, I got to watch it, because if you give me a pack of Doritos, I'll eat the whole damn bag. I mean, guaranteed. So watching what I eat and how I eat, to be mindful about what I'm putting in my body and what it actually does to my system, right? Back in the day, I would just anything, and you're not even aware of what your body's doing to process good food and quality food or crap, right? How many are hearing that sleep is like the big thing? Sleep is huge, right? All the research is saying that if you're not sleeping well, you're functioning like guys who I get in for DWIs, right? You're so impaired in your functioning. We talk about the first 10 years of parenting. We must have been equivalent to 0.20, We're sleep deprived and just dead, You're handing kids off and trying to make it work. I hate that. See, I bought this thing, and I always do that. I got this button that I hit because I hit the wrong one. So what I do, I track my sleep. I want to know, how well am I sleeping? Am I crazy about it? Do I get anxious about it? No, but I track it to kind of understand and be mindful of the fact that this thing doesn't work unless I'm taking care of it and sleeping, right? Real simple stuff. There, I did it again. It's that one button. Sleep, exercise. Ryan hates this one because my resting heart rate is way below his. I keep track. I know my resting heart rate for the last 3 years, and I can look and I can see, and it's not day in, day out, but it's the patterns, and I can look and I see the stress in my life and the way I'm not processing it well, and I know when I'm starting to burn up, right? It goes up, it goes up. Then I needed more, And that's when I found Andy's app, Headspace, right? Those of you who've used Headspace, what do you think? Anybody using it now? Come on, talk to me. Over there. What do you think?
I think it's hard for me. It's hard to incorporate in my everyday life. But
Right.
when I do, I feel like it evens my life out.
So it's finding the time, taking the time, right? Building it in. How good are you at kind of sitting there like this for
Not good.
challenging, right? Really challenging. What his app does and what a lot of apps do is they walk you through. He guides you with his voice to tell you how to breathe. And it's just exactly what he said, kind of trying to take this chance to just be and watch your thoughts and understand that we are not our thoughts. I can have a thought that isn't me, right? It's just flying across the screen of my stupid little brain, right? Those apps, the practices, help you to be able to separate from all that traffic, right? And just look at it and back up. It's that idea of being present. Everybody else is watching the Pope and blah, blah, blah. And that woman, she's just watching and enjoying, right? There's Ellen Langer. He quoted Ellen Langer. He didn't give her credit, but she's the one, she's from Harvard, and she's done a ton of research, like 30 years worth of research on mindfulness. I'm going to talk about her in a little bit. She's the one who says, she's the one who says 47% of our time is mindless, meaning we're just running our thoughts and we're kind of not really grounded in our thoughts or our thinking. What this practice can help you do, and there's a million ways of finding mindfulness, is it can help you stop, take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Give it to him. He can shut it off. It can help you to be able to pause and be present and be there with your thoughts and watch them. It's not about controlling your thoughts or being able to stop your thoughts. It's about being present and being able. I did that for a couple of years, and honestly, I got sick of it. I know I'm supposed to sell the crap, but... And what it did for me, have you guys ever... Do you listen to Krista Tippett and On Being? Right? Like the coolest person in the universe. She interviewed the guy who wrote The Alchemist, called Paulo Coelho, I think is how you say it. I kind of can't get it right. And she was talking with him about meditation and mindfulness, and he said to her, you know what my meditation is? It's archery. I'm like, what? That's not right. You're supposed to sit down and, crunch up and do all the... He's like, it's hard for me to just sit and be in my head. But the archery and the repetition gives me a mind-body connection that is a strong thing. And I heard that, I'm like, oh, I get that. And I moved to that. I'd hurt my knee biking in a bike race and on a trip, and I need to rehab my knee. And I called a buddy who's an exercise physiologist, and he helped me set up about a 15 or 20-minute stretching routine. I call it my yoga. What I do every morning after I bike is I do 15 or 20 minutes of stretching that's a pattern, that's a ritual, and I breathe. And I breathe and I breathe and I breathe as I go through. And I don't try and run my brain. I'm breathing and I'm working. And for me, it gives me this incredible connection through my whole being. It connects my brain to my body, to my spirit, to my gut, and it really is a powerful thing to me. Might not work for anybody else. A lot of the research out there, if you work with people who've experienced trauma, tons of research about how yoga and different body movements can help you. What we do when we have trauma, or what some of us do, is we disconnect parts of our lives, right? We disconnect our body from our brain. We put substances in so we can shut off. We eat so we don't feel our feelings, right? Doing something that involves everything, mind, body, the whole thing, can be an incredibly powerful, mindful experience. But, you know, it's all about, to me, when I watch people and talk about this, it's all about finding your way, right? We're all different. If I told you there's a prescription for this, that'd be crazy, right? Ellen Langer describes this, and she doesn't do any meditative practice. She's a Harvard prof. She's got to be about the biggest name on that side of this question. No meditation at all, because she says meditation is really to get you to mindfulness. I'm going to focus on mindfulness. She describes mindfulness as active noticing. Simple as that. Active noticing, being there fully, and paying attention and being curious and being present, as opposed to, oh, what did I have for lunch yesterday? What do I got going tomorrow? Et cetera, et cetera. She's done a couple of really fascinating things, and I want to kind of twist this idea of mindfulness a little more based on what she's done. She's done research. She does all these research experiments where she sets up and asks the question, what if you change your mind about something? Will that change the outcomes? She did a study in England with chambermaids. Chambermaids, kind of a weird term, you know, people working in housekeeping, right? Her theory was, these folks do a lot of lifting every day. They're moving stuff around, they're vacuuming, they're, you know, hauling stuff, shaking stuff. They ought to be in pretty decent shape. But they weren't. They were in terrible shape. Overweight, hypertension, diabetes, etc. She created one change for these folks. This one, does this bug you? One change for all these, well, they did a control group and a treatment group. The treatment group, they taught all of these folks to think about their work as exercise. That is the only change they made. So if you're in the control group and you're lifting stuff and hauling stuff and beating stuff and vacuuming all day long and telling yourself it's exercise, you guys do the same work day in and day out. Do you think that would have any effect on your hypertension, your diabetes, your weight, and your conditioning? No, you don't, because you're American. Right? We'd need a pill for that. Made huge impacts in the control group, or in the treatment group. Huge impacts in the raw data about their bodies and their conditioning and their weight. She does that again and again. She's been doing that for 30 years, where all she does is change how you think about something that creates radical outcomes in what you do. She says, you know, they always do these drug trials, and they find out, oh, there's the placebo effect. Throw it out. She's like, why doesn't anybody study the placebo effect? Why are you getting a 30 to 70% uptick sometimes based on placebo? Shouldn't we chase that? Shouldn't we figure that out? Shouldn't we follow that? We're in a trial. This is my law clerk, Megan. This is her 13th day on the job, right? We're in a trial right now. It's a father charged with sexually molesting his daughter. It's horrible. We started it Monday. I was telling Ryan, I was thinking of Dr. Langer, because I flew in from D.C. Sunday night. I was supposed to be home at 9. Our plane didn't land until almost 2 in the morning. I get to bed at 2:30 in the morning to get up. I slept in. I slept till 5:50 to get on my bike to work and go to hell. Right? And I knew that what I would do, left to my own devices, is I'd say, geez, I'm tired. Geez, I'm tired. Geez, I'm tired. This is awful. This sucks. This is going to be terrible. I knew that was going to be the tape running in my brain all day long. And it was a horrible day. It was, right? Horrible. Not as bad as today, but it was horrible. Yeah, yeah. And what I did was simply what Dr. Langer would do. I decided to change my thinking about this. Every time I started to feel, oh, I'm tired, oh, this is bad, I would say, you know, I'm doing all right. I'm in pretty good shape. I got 3 hours and 20 minutes of sleep. I slept on that plane. I think I can do a day of this on this kind of sleep. And it changed the day for me. It literally changed the day for me. Can I do that for 40 days and deny my body? No, don't hear that. But think about what she's talking about in terms of how do you think about stuff? What's the story you're telling yourself? And how big an impact does that have on your outcomes? If chambermaids can tell themselves, this is exercise, and lose weight, and drop their diabetes numbers, change their hypertension, maybe the way I think about Monday can change a little if I kind of change the way I think about Monday, right? Life is what you think life is. What have you done that's helpful for you in any context? Yes, my friend, you missed those 3 minutes. You are coming back after.
Well, I just want to share
Yeah.
one doctor who's done research throughout the book Neuroplasticity.
Oh, I love that word.
To change how OCD patients heal, and I believe that's what you're referring to by saying the placebo effect.
Placebo effect, yeah, have an impact. How many of you are docs? You a doc?
Yeah, but not the kind that actually helps people.
Oh, shoot. Oh, maybe you'd know some research. What else? What works for you? What do you, yeah, Dave. Just y'all, we'll share.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you know that there was an experiment with rats where if they allow the rats to choose how long they're going to run on the spinning wheel or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and they time it and they compare that to another group of rats that they force to run. So they have no choice but to run for the same amount of time. And the health effects are so different on the ones that had the ability to choose.
Autonomy, right? Langer does a ton of work. Go to a nursing home and give them all plants to take care of. Give them some autonomy, some mission, some beauty, and stuff starts to change really fast for a lot of folks, right?
Yeah. So I was thinking of like the workers that were choosing to think of it as exercise.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of some dumb job, right? Yeah. What else? What have you found that works? You again.
For myself, I'll use like mantras.
Yeah.
So if I'm not like really in my practice of yoga, I'm a Himalayan student as well. I'll just tell myself good things like you're awesome, you're so strong, you're doing great.
Yeah.
And like if the negative thoughts come in, just be like no.
Change your thinking, right? Change your thinking. I do mantras, and then people mistakenly say them out loud, and then it's really embarrassing. What? Yes, lovely, Sarah. Nature. Tell me more.
This morning I saw a huge raven on a tiny branch. And I was worried for the raven because the wind was coming and the branch was dipping, and I thought, he's going to fall off. And then I thought, no, he's got wings. He isn't
Right.
he isn't worried about it at all.
He'd love to fall, right?
And then I thought about a client I knew I would have today that would be difficult for me. And I thought, I've got wings. I mean, I'm the adult in this situation. I can handle this. I can be that raven on the branch. And so just connecting with that in my that memory, I thought, oh, there's a perfect image.
Yeah. Well, and the people studying nature and the impact it has on us, it's kind of right up there with sleep. Back row.
So, I have a friend, and
You have a friend? It's a bad start.
he's from Veracruz,
Yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah.
And he comes every year, every spring, summer, he comes and works in Lutsen. And he will do like 130 hours of work.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's absolutely positive and upbeat about it.
Yeah.
Here I am bitching about my job, working
Right.
30 hours
Right.
a day, and I'm making a decent amount of money, and he works 130, 140 hours.
Right.
Anyone it's 10 hours.
Right.
But he's so positive about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Life
And-
is what we think life is.
And he's like, I'm going to go to college in Mexico, and it's amazing. It's really, it's like, I couldn't see myself doing that, but here he is from a poor country, and he's really
Yeah.
upbeat about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we moving into the Q&A now, or do you have
Well,
more?
what time you got? How much time do I got?
You've got about -5 minutes.
Seriously? Gosh, see, I told people I can't talk for 20 minutes. All right, so we won't do the practice thing.
No, it's
Let
okay.
me-
You can just flow with it.
Huh? Well, let me tell you one more bit of research about stress. It's Kelly McGonigal, and you can find her. She does TED Talks and stuff like this. It's research coming out of Madison, and it follows what I'm talking about with Dr. Langer. It's research people who are experiencing profound stress over time. One of the best predictors of whether you're going to have a negative impact from stress or a positive impact from stress, what do you think it is? It's what you think. They're doing research. People who think stress is going to kill them, stress is breaking them apart, stress is crunching them down, have really bad outcomes. People who look at stress and think, I used to say I eat stress for breakfast. Bring it. Right? You think your heart is pumping faster. That's to give you blood and oxygen so you can move and you can act. Your lungs are drawing in oxygen so that your brain is pumping with oxygen and making decisions, right? Stress is a powerful tool for action in our world. Doesn't mean you want it 24/7, but if you start thinking about your stress that way, this is a tool that makes me better, stronger, faster to respond to what I need to respond to. It can change you.
Okay, let me ask you this though. I'm just going to stop
Yeah,
you for a second.
yeah.
As your friend,
Yeah.
tell me though about the difference, because the Shaun that I knew 10 years ago that ate stress for breakfast
Right.
is a different Shaun than the Shaun I know now that also eats stress for breakfast. But what's the difference in that? It's the way you process it.
It's the way you process it. It's all in finding ritual, finding practice, finding way to be present.
Because you're not letting it amp you up and crank it out. You're
Right. I want to be present, and I want to be able to do today what I need to do today. That's the whole difference. Is that I'm here, as opposed to being fractured in 100 different ways. I've got 1,000 ideas a day, but I'm going to work one at a time, right? Or I'm going to hand them off to Megan, and she's going to work 10, and I'm going to work one. Which is sorry, that's really true. Yeah. Let me show you. Can I show them a 3-minute
Do it, yeah.
video? I promise it's worth the price of admission. Okay. Stress turns out to produce hormones in you that makes you want for connection. The foxhole effect. You're in a foxhole with other people. You're experiencing stress together. You're coming together. You got a blizzard. We're going to get together. We're going to shovel in our neighborhood. Why couldn't our whole life be that feeling of community when the blizzard hits or when the shit hits the fan? Sorry, guys. Right? Look at this video about connection. It's real simple. It's working on mirror neurons and the idea that our connection comes from one of the most powerful connections we have can be through eye contact, right? This is going to be the difference between soft eyes and hard eyes. Soft eyes welcome you in, hard eyes keep you out. Isn't that insane? Set up in the middle of somewhere and say, come look at me. See the soft eyes that they're doing? Hard eyes, he ain't coming. There she is, brave. First one. hard eyes. Yeah. Yeah. What are those women doing over there? Isn't that cool? We're like islands in the sea, separate on the surface, but connected in the deep. Did I really go that long?
You did great. You just made me cry. That's
Yeah.
not part of the deal.
Yeah.